Hi there. My name is Dwayne Bryson, and truth be told, I have the best life in the world. And a lot of it has to do with food. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of audition tapes of people saying that exact same thing. And I like food. I don't like it in that simplistic, gluttonous way where I just want more and more and more. I love the subtleties of food. I love subtle flavors and combinations and unique sourcings and where things come from and stories behind where things come from. And I just think it's amazing. It's an amazing social event. And and I learned this. I learned this in a very, very strange roundabout way about 18 years ago. I was doing my master's degree in criminal sociology, and it occurred to me that on a Friday night, I didn't want to have people over and talk about crime statistics and what the new legislation was going to mean to youth offenders that were coming up for review. I wanted to make risotto, and I wanted to open a cool bottle of wine and cool gin and sit in my kitchen and talk and laugh and have fun. And it occurred to me that maybe I should be doing it professionally. So lo and behold, 18 years later, I do it professionally. I feel like I host a dinner party professionally every single night of my life, and it's awesome. I've had the incredible fortune of hosting these dinner parties as the face of many, many world-renowned chefs in their dining rooms, including Iron Chef Rob Feeney, Top Chef Dale McKay, Top Chef Season 2, Kyle Heinrich, as well as Daniel Boulud from New York City, who is the first Michelin 3-star chef ever to cook in the country of Canada. And I get to parade their food into dining rooms and tell stories and why it works with this wine and where stuff came from and what the history of stuff is. And it's just the best way to spend my life. And then I have a night off and I have a dinner party. I also own a small bit, like this much of a bit of a restaurant in Calgary called Taste, and it's super fun and super awesome. If you ever get a chance to check it out, please do. I think my greatest claim to fame, however, would be at Restaurant Lumiere, which did exclusively 10-course tasting menus. And interestingly, they were gender specific because it was more often than not couples coming in, so we would do 10 different courses for each person. So it would be 20 courses, each with paired wines. So it would be 20 courses with 20 different wines. And if after 20 different courses with 20 different wines, I haven't run out of things to say, then nobody will ever run out of things to say, because it was amazingly challenging and it was the funnest job. It was, I would have done it for free, that I've ever had. And I still do something incredibly similar to that now in Ontario. It was challenging, as you can imagine, because people came in. There's a Food Network. I don't know if you've heard about it. People watch food shows, so people would come in incredibly informed and curious, and you had to have a lot of intelligent things to say, and you had to answer every single question without looking like an idiot. And a lot of people came in and they were really intimidated as well. So you kind of need to treat them differently. You needed to coddle them a little bit, not to talk down to them. You didn't need to be a kindergarten teacher to them, but they had different levels of knowledge, so their questions were going to be different, and you needed to kind of find where these people were, where you were going to take them on this little adventure of food. And of course, then there were the people that own a computer and consider themselves a blogger, that were just looking to find the 2% that wasn't perfect in your game and let everyone in the world know about it. So it was kind of a really fun juggling act to see where all these people were and kind of keep the gas pedal down and keeping everyone laughing and having a good time. And it was challenging. It was challenging. You needed to have, I guess, not an opinion. I don't want to say that you need to be opinionated, but you need to be inquisitive about food to make it through that restaurant as a restaurant professional. And you just need to be enthusiastic, and you need to be fun, because that's not what people were expecting. They were expecting people in bow ties pulling out your chairs 50 times and running a lint brush over your shoulders. Boy, you're pretty much doing cartwheels in the dining room to entertain people, because people are people and people are casual. And I think that's the important thing. I'm trained really professionally, but I think I'm the most casual person in the world, and I think that would catch people off guard and then relax them. And I think that's a really perfect way. There doesn't need to be pretension when looking at food and looking at wine and looking at beer and looking at cocktails. I mean, it's all fun, and if you can't have fun with it, you're really doing it for the wrong reason. So as I was saying, I think I'm trained professionally. However, I enjoy everything casually, including probably the best thing that I've ever eaten. I mean, I love seared foie gras with an old sauterne, but I think one of the best things I've ever eaten was a hamburger in a back alley made of muskox burger, topped off with a poisse cheese and elderberry jelly. And it was probably $9, and I had it with a beer that was made half a block away. And I talk about it, and that was 10 years ago, and it was still one of the most amazing things in the world. And that's what I love to do. I love to find the uniqueness, and I love to find the joy. People have told me for years, you should really be a food writer because you don't say bad things about things that you eat. And I'm like, well, there are bad things, and I don't give everything a gold star across the board, but I mean, life's too short to go through finding fault with things. So if you're a blogger, I applaud your unhappiness with life. I also have a second career, which has kind of spawned out of the first restaurant career. I was working at Restaurant Lumiere about 7 years ago, and a film producer came in and said, you have kind of an interesting way about you. You're very communicative. Would you mind auditioning for a television show for me? And I thought, yeah, I guess. I have no idea what I'm doing. He sent a script over, and I kind of worked on it in a way that I didn't know how to work on it, and I auditioned for it, and I was so super green. They asked me to slate 3 times, and what? Can you slate? Can you slate? I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, say your name. So I made it through, got a callback for the television show, got a second callback for the television show, didn't end up getting it, but the director tracked me down after the fact and said, you know what, we ended up going with a different age range for that character, but I think you should maybe think about doing this because we talked about you a lot and you're fairly naturally talented. I'm not patting myself on the back, I'm trying to quote. So I started going to acting schools. I went to every acting school I could possibly find, workshops, improv, stand-up comedy routines, and everything I can possibly do. And now I find myself 10 years later, or 8 years later, with a professional film and television career as well. I've done about a half dozen television shows in that time, as well as a big handful of short films and 4 feature films, including one that I'm incredibly proud of, which is just being released, called In the End. And it is my first lead in a feature film. And it just won the Award of Excellence from the Canadian International Film Association. So I'm unbelievably proud of that. I also have another film coming out, another feature film coming out. I'm a supporting lead in a movie called Bloody Knuckles, which is not as weird as it sounds. There's a story behind it, which I just finished filming in Vancouver about 4 months ago. So I'll let you know when that's out and about as well. I'm getting long-winded, so I'll try and reel this in. Hopefully I seem comfortable on camera, and I know how to slate now. I know what a mark is. I know that when you say cut, it's not typically a cooking term. It's kind of a stop doing what you're doing thing with the camera. I will send you over, I'll have my agent send over a resume and some headshots and a few testimonials about myself from people that I've worked with, because you really need to spend more time listening to Dwayne Bryson and reading about Dwayne Bryson to completely take up your day. I'm just outside Toronto. I'm available at any time to get together to meet. I would love to have you over here. I'm always looking for a reason to have a dinner party if I haven't made that clear. And I just got some tenderloins of camel delivered, and I'm so unbelievably curious to know what camel is going to taste like. Give me 6 hours notice and you can get your butt over here and we will have some tenderloin of camel and open up something cool and drink it, and we'll talk about food till you don't want to talk anymore. You know how to get a hold of me. I will cut it short here and we will talk soon.